Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for today's ASMR reading video. Feel free to sit in a relaxing place or to make your body comfortable. And once you have done that, take this time to take a deep breath in and hold, and breathe out. Very good. Okay. Today we will be reading once again a little bit more of The Secret Language of Dreams by David Fontana. I like to start these videos with a mini story time of an example of a dream, and then I use the different pages in this book to help me analyze what that dream might mean. The dream I'll be sharing with you today is actually not one that belongs to me, but it belongs to a friend who I was speaking about this book to, and they were interested in knowing what the meaning of one of their repetitive dreams was. In this dream, they are jumping across hills, really big, tall hills. They describe it as being fun, jumping from one hill to another, kind of like they have a superpower. And when it gets towards the end of this dream, there's one hill that is really far away, but they believe that they can make it. However, on this last jump, they always fall during the jump. And they describe this part of the dream as like they're falling into a big lake, into water, and then they can feel themselves drowning or being pulled down by something in the water, and that is the point when they wake up in that state of panic. This is a dream that they've dreamt about quite a few times, so I thought it would be interesting to see if this book has any help, any inspiration for what that dream might be saying. The contents of this book splits different symbols and aspects of analysis into categories. So, for example, one category is labeled activities and states of being. If you can't see the text, don't worry, because I will read to you what the pages say. So don't worry if you can't read the text. Just to show you guys what I'm talking about, I'll bring this a little bit closer to you. So you can see how there's an activities and states of being chapter, and there are different pages related to activities and states of being. So things like captivity and freedom, climbing and falling, flying, travel and motion, and so on. I think that the climbing and falling page would be most relevant to this dream. So I'm just going to find page 102, 102, 102, 102, 102. Okay. This page kind of looks like a board game, kind of like the game called Snakes and Ladders. We have people climbing and falling on a board with numbers on it. We have some ropes, and on this page there's a little picture of some stairs, a slide, some more ladders, and I believe this is someone in a lift. Yeah, or an elevator. Someone holding a briefcase and pressing buttons inside an elevator. Okay. Let me just move myself. So, climbing and falling. Logic suggests that climbing dreams indicate success and falling dreams failure, but other interpretations can reach a deeper level of meaning. For Freud, climbing dreams represented a longing for sexual fulfillment. One of you guys left a comment on one of my other reading videos, letting me know that a lot of Freud's analysis and theories involve looking at things in a sexual way. I think I was quite surprised by some of the dream interpretations during my last reading video, so thank you to that person who educated me on that. Yeah, so that's Freud's theory on this. But climbing dreams also carry connotations of aspiration in other areas of life, such as personal or professional growth. Falling can symbolize failure or overweening pride, as in the fall of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun. But it can also represent an abrupt and unsettling descent into the unconscious. So it can mean that if you're climbing, it feels like you're aspiring something or aspiring towards something else in your life, something that you're trying to chase, which can be a personal thing for you, maybe a new hobby that you're taking up, or it can be a professional growth, something that you're chasing professionally. And the falling might symbolize the sense of failure in those things that you're chasing, or maybe having too much pride or focusing too much on this thing that you're trying to chase to the point where it becomes toxic for you. Tripping and falling, an experience that happens particularly during hypnagogic, interesting word, dreaming. See page 16. Oh, there's another page on that. Okay. Yeah, tripping and falling often emerges as a reminder of over-intellectualization, living too much in the head and failing to take care of the more basic or emotional aspects of life. Dreamers rarely report distress when hitting the ground. They either wake up just in time or find the ground to be soft and yielding. Such dreams remind us that apparent disasters may often lead to no long-term harm. I was smiling as I read that because I have a lot of tripping and falling dreams. I'm not even sure if I would call it a dream because it feels like I'm half awake when it happens, but it's a very short moment where I feel like I'm like falling over, and then I suddenly wake up and remind myself that I'm actually in my bed and I'm not standing up. This happens quite often to me, and I smiled because I relate to the over-intellectualization thing, and I definitely can see how sometimes I need to not live so much in my head and to just feel more or look at life in a more simple and emotionally connected way. And yes, I like the part of this analysis that touches upon the fact that many tripping or falling dreams involve waking up just before you feel any impact, and that is a reminder that maybe you've been thinking about worries in your life in a very dramatic way, or thinking that there are disasters happening around you, but they might not actually be as bad or as scary as you think. Okay. Dreams of falling from a rooftop or from a high window usually indicate insecurity in an area of worldly ambition, such as a profession or social milieu. Falling from a burning building may suggest that the dreamer has been under insupportable emotional pressures as a result of his or her aspirations. Yes, I'm thinking about what this might mean for my friend, because they are falling from a high mountain, which could mean that they are insecure about something they feel ambition towards, maybe a profession that they're chasing or social status. Insecurity about something there. And interesting how falling from a burning building is about the emotional pressures one feels as a result of their aspirations. Amplification on climbing and falling symbols may provide links with mythological archetypes, such as the biblical story of Jacob, who saw angels climbing up and down a ladder set between heaven and earth. In the Renaissance, Jacob's ladder became an important Rosicrucian and alchemical symbol, usually shown with 7 rungs, 7 steps to heaven, representing the link between the physical and the spiritual self. Okay, so this is interpreting the climbing as more of a spiritual, very symbolic representation. Something to do with climbing from the physical realm to the spiritual realm. Okay, there's just 2 little pieces of text on the page with artwork on it. I will just read those to you. Climbing a mountain. Mountains are the male aspect, or on a loftier plane, the higher self. They also suggest the self-determination needed if one is to reach the summit, as well as the dangers and the rarefied nature of the environment. Yes, this is quite applicable to my friend's dream as they are jumping between mountains. Self-determination needed if one is to reach the summit. So it could have something to do with that friend acknowledging that they need a lot of self-determination to get through something that they're going through in life right now. And they are aware that there might be danger ahead. But I think that this friend said that the jumping on mountains part of the dream was quite fun until they fall. So, different ways to analyze it. Maybe the next page on flying will make more sense there. But yes, self-determination. Slippery slopes. The quite common dream in which we attempt to climb up a descending escalator. Interesting. A slippery slope or a greasy ladder suggests failure to make progress in a desired area and may serve as a reminder either to abandon the attempt or to seek a more appropriate way up. So the falling part of my friend's dream, where they can't quite reach the last hill or are falling down the hill, might mean that they feel a sense of failure in their life, something that they're trying to progress in. And this dream is telling them to perhaps either give up with this thing that they're feeling so much pressure to progress in, or to go about this thing that they're chasing in a different way. I don't want to speak too much about the personal things that that friend shared with me, just to respect their privacy, but we did have some conversations where they revealed to me a sense of pressure within their family because they come from a religious family, and I think a lot of us can relate to the topic of trying to prove ourselves to family or guardians in our lives. So I can definitely see how that pressure that they've experienced in their life from wanting to please their family might be coming across in this dream, as maybe they feel a sense of failure to be what their family wants them to be. Or maybe there's something that they want to do with their life, but they're struggling to progress with it. Okay. The next page is on flying. This is not necessarily related to falling, but my friend did say that they enjoy the part of their dream where they're jumping from one hill to the other. So I think it would be interesting to read this page on flying. There are lots of images of different forms of transportation. There is a hot air balloon, a paper plane, a real plane, a chair, some kites, someone flying above a house. This is interesting because I think I did have a dream once where I was flying above houses high up in the sky. I remember there being lots of colour in that dream, like coloured blobs in the sky. Okay. Flying. Flying dreams often bring a remarkable sense of exhilaration, and some dreamers speak of a strange recognition, as if flying is a skill that they have always possessed, yet for some reason have forgotten how to use. Rarely are flying dreams experienced as unpleasant or fearful, and the sense of freedom and exaltation that they convey often open the dreamer's imagination to the infinite possibilities of life. I'm just putting 2 and 2 together here. The flying or jumping part of my friend's dream, which they enjoy the most, is like the feeling that anything is possible. They are free. There are no rules or regulations. And then they experience failure towards the very end of the dream. And remembering the stuff that we read about on the previous page, that could be like a wake-up call. Maybe they're experiencing the enjoyment of the freedom, but then the obligations of life or the responsibility that is bestowed on them from their family expectations, the expectations that other people put on them, is like stopping them from enjoying this freedom, enjoying living life in the way that they want to. Sorry, I felt like something made sense in my brain just then. Dreamers do not always fly alone, but may be surrounded by friends or strangers, suggesting that others share their insight into the true nature of things. They may be accompanied by an animal or by an object, perhaps symbolizing important aspects of personal or professional life. Instead of flying under their own power, I can just hear someone posting something through my letterbox. Instead of flying under their own power, dreamers may find themselves in a vehicle of some kind. No matter how incongruous, or they may be leaping into the air on giant strides, like the 3 strides with which the Hindu god Vishnu, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, measured the boundaries of the universe. It doesn't say what the meaning of taking giant strides is, but it does mention that flying dreams can come in many different forms. But it speaks about a story within the Hindu religion, representing the dreamer taking big strides as a way to say that the dreamer is exploring the boundaries of the universe. Flying a kite. This is a little smaller section on this page. To dream of flying a kite carries similar connotations to other flying dreams, but emphasizes the controlled freedom of some aspect of the dreamer. Just as a kite is controlled in the wild, natural forces of the wind, such dreams can also stand for exhilarating but ultimately unproductive schemes. A balloon. Balloons are associated most frequently with fantasy, the wish to escape, and the desire to rise above the conflicts of daily life. They can also represent a need to be more objective, far-sighted, and all-inclusive in one's thinking. An airplane. Flying in a plane often carries relatively straightforward associations, such as a wish to travel or see the world, but can also suggest a desire for rapid progress or to achieve spectacular success in a particular enterprise. There's a little section underneath the hot air balloon drawing which says, "Dreamer flying unaided." If accompanied by strong feelings of awe and power, flying unaided can be a level 3 archetypal expression of the dreamer's higher self, his or her sense of immortality, and an element in ourselves that rides high above the space-time constraints of the material world. So this is quite another spiritual, very meaningful, symbolic, more abstract way of looking at a flying dream, where the soul or the spiritual version of oneself is coming through in the dream. Flying in an incongruous vehicle. Often the incongruous object is something that represents comfort and security, such as a bed or an armchair, kind of like what I'm sitting in right now. And the dream suggests a desire for adventure, tempered by a strong predilection for ease and safety. So it's like a desire for adventure, but also a desire for comfort and safety, which might be affecting the dreamer's ability to adventure. Have I ever dreamt of flying in a chair? I don't think so. But this is reminding me of, a really well-known film or two where children fly in a bed. It's a really well-known film, but I can't remember the title of it right now. It's not Nanny McPhee, is it? No. All the children gather in a bed and then the bed magically transports them to different locations. But there's also, I'm not sure if it's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or a film that I watched when I was younger about a car that used to be able to teleport through time and space. But I'm just finding it interesting how similar the themes of those films are to this analysis of dreams, which involve flying in a comfortable piece of furniture like a chair or a bed. Because those children's films that I watched were all about the children adventuring and going on fun, exciting journeys. But the film ends with them finding a sense of comfort back home and returning to their original state. So yeah, quite similar themes there. Wanting adventure, but needing a sense of security at the same time. Okay. What do we have time for? I think that I saw another page on the contents section that seemed quite relevant. I would say success and failure is quite relevant for this person's dream, and also mortality. I think what I will do, seen as hopefully you are feeling more relaxed and ready to rest, I will save the success and failure page and the mortality page for the next reading video. I hope that you found this video interesting. I hope it helped you to relax. And I look forward to joining you for another reading session in the next video. Before this video ends, I'd like you to take a deep breath in, hold, and breathe out. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow.